All right, we're back. Another episode of Wise Beyond the Ears. Today we got Zeke Andrade, assistant coach at Northern State University, joining us. Co-host Wyatt Turnquist as well. Kind of going into this just free go here, but I guess first and foremost, I guess we haven't really had a podcast since me becoming the head coach, Zeke staying on, and now announcing that Wyatt Turnquist is going to be joining Northern State University wrestling program as one of our assistant coaches. So I guess just a little bit about what you're excited about and what you look forward to kind of bringing to the team now from the corner versus from the center of the circle.
Yeah. First off, I'm excited. I always knew college coaching was a route I wanted to take. And before all the pieces fell in line, I was looking at other places, and no matter where I went, nothing really felt like it did here. So I guess I'm just kind of excited to stay home and go from being these guys' teammates to in their corner. I know that they trust me. So I think just having that relationship already, I know I have their respect. So I'm going to do everything I can to help them, whether it's wrestling, school, life. I'm excited.
Yeah, and I think your position on the team, over the last couple of years too, just I think that helps the process of kind of moving into a coach role, kind of being the older guy on the team, a guy with a lot of experience, a guy that, has won a ton of matches for the team. I think, you already served a pretty big role for the program as, a guy that people are gonna look to for hey, if I don't know what I should be doing, I can look over to Wyatt Turnquist and probably have a pretty good idea of what should be going on. So I think that kind of eases the transition period and really once, I got announced as being the head coach, that was a big part of, what me and Zeke talked about is look, man, I wanted this transition to be as smooth as possible. I wanted all these guys to stay here. I wanted to keep all the recruits and without having Zeke here, I didn't know if that was even going to be possible. So super grateful that Zeke's staying on. And then, Zeke, talk about a little bit, you've been here 6 years, what has, your experience been like as, kind of starting with Rocky kind of in the early stages of things developing, and then to the position that we're at now where we're talking to our guys, we're talking to recruits, and we're talking about high aspirations. We're talking about setting our sights on things bigger than just being All-Americans, just being guys that are ranked in the country. We're talking team trophies. We're talking go chase down the biggest goals that we possibly can. So what's led to being able to speak about that now?
Yeah, I mean, six years ago when I got here, I mean, Rocky had done a lot of the groundwork to get out of the ashes, right? Mm-hmm. Right. So I think he was to the point where, hey, he could go and get a little bit picky with some recruits, but still to the point where man, we just got to keep numbers up and get the right kind of people in here. So, right away, it was still just really focused on man, we got to get kids, doing the right things, getting their grades up. We're still having a little bit of headaches here and there. And right now we're to the point where there's no headache, man. There's no headache. We really can be pretty picky with who we're going to go and chase down and bring into our program. And so that's really the biggest difference is just having that freedom to go and if we're giving you a call, hey, we're recruiting you to come and be an impact guy in our program. And I think that's the last piece, man, is just to continue to elevate, the recruits that we bring in, and we brought in a ton of great kids, and we'll continue to do that. And you look at just the growth in all areas that we've made over the years. We were talking yesterday, we've never had dang near 100% of our guys staying here training all summer long, right? That's what it's looking like it's going to be the case this year. So just the buy-in from top to bottom, from guy number 1 to guy number 30. Like this is the most buy-in we've had as a program, and so that's, I think, really where the excitement is for us, is just knowing that like there's no ceiling on what we're capable of doing. And so yeah, we've talked about team trophies for the entire 6 years that I've been here, right? You have to have those goals, like you have to talk about them, you have to preach to the guys like what we're trying to chase down, but it's never been more realistic than right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and then just kind of going into that buy-in too, like you talking to the guys yesterday about like, look, like we're as good as our weakest link. We're not going to be judged on, our ultimately our best guys. Like if we want to do the things that we're talking about, like we're going to be judged on our worst guys. We're going to be judged on our lowest performance. Like those are the things that we got to continue to raise the bar on, right? Where if we do slip, we don't slip that far into the hole. We don't slip, our poor performances are, still pretty dang good, and so just talking a lot to the guys that think about, just raising their expectations of themselves and not just being able to, hide behind the guys that are doing really well, like we want to take, like you said, number 30 guy on the roster, like they're just as important as number 1 guy, but we can't do those types of things without number 30 being as bought in as number 1, you know.
I think you go back to, the days when you were Rocky's assistant, 10, 11 years ago, like you guys had some hammers, man. Like you guys had 4 or 5 guys that could scrap and go be All-Americans, but it was the other 10, 15, 20 guys that like, we needed to find another level up with the depth of the program. And you found out like back then, like you can't just do it with the 5 guys, like guy 28, 29, 30, those guys are super important, man. And we talked about like the ceiling, like we don't want to put a ceiling on these guys, but like we want the floor to be as high as possible too, right? Yes. So you're talking about like, we're only as strong as our weakest link, man. Like let's raise that floor up. So even if we have our worst performance, like it still ain't gonna be that bad. We can get back in the lab and go to work, but like we're not relying on guys that aren't putting the work in, or we're not putting guys out on the mat that we're like, man, this guy's not been working hard. Like no, every guy that we have in our program, if they get the nod to go out on the center stage, man, like we can have the confidence in guy number 30 to go out and compete with 100% effort, great attitude, and we can be happy with whatever the result is, because we know that guy's going to fight for us, right? And I think that's a huge part that, again, like 6 years ago, we didn't have that with everybody, right? We've really had to grow and develop that, and I think right now we have every one of our guys we can throw out there and be proud of the effort they put in, and they're going to represent the program the way we want them to.
Yeah, I was watching a video yesterday, and the guy was talking to a group of like baseball players, and he's talking to them, and he asked a guy what position he played. The guy's like shortstop. He's like, I'm your backup, right? I'm your backup, and he picks up this. He's got a lunchbox. Picks it up. He's like, I'm gonna make sure that you got everything that you need. Like I'm your backup. Like I'm gonna push you. I'm gonna support you. But I'm bringing this to work every single day. I'm showing up with my lunchbox every single day. And the second you slip and I get my chance, like I'm still bringing my lunchbox. I'm still putting in the work, and my goal is to never give you that spot again, right? And like that's the mentality I think we are trying to continue to like implement in our guys, and just understand like that we want there to be competition for the spots. We want, that we only get 10 guys in a lineup, right? So we need, 20 other guys, nipping at their heels and creating competition, not in a from a negative standpoint, like the guy was talking about, like I'm still going to support you, I'm still your teammate, I'm still, pushing for you, like, and I want you to do well, but at the same time, like I'm right there, I'm right behind you, and I'm gonna do everything I can if I get that chance to never relent that thing. So, that's just the mentality we got to continue to bring to the room and continue to, just elevate the expectations of each other.
I think you've mentioned it a lot just in the last couple weeks. Like, there's a line, but like, be greedy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Be greedy. Like, this is a team sport and this is an individual sport all in one. And like, you have to have your goals that you're trying to accomplish, and like, you want to be the best teammate you can be, but you don't want to sacrifice what you're chasing down either, right? So, I remember a couple years ago, I think Wyatt was our starter at 149, and we had a couple guys, Brandon Sharkey and Adam DeBoer, both right behind him, and I believe it was Adam, stepped up in the team meeting and was like, hey, every one of us in this room needs to have this mindset. Like, 149, we're producing an All-American International Champion this year, whether it's me, whether it's him, or whether it's Wyatt. Like, we are going to push each other, we are going to sharpen each other, and it's our job to make sure this weight class produces what we need to produce. Mm-hmm. And like, we want it for ourselves. We're going to be greedy individually for that, to be the guy to go and get it done. But if it's not me, like, this guy gets to go under the lights and go put the single on and represent. Like, we're his biggest fan, because we're the ones that are scrapping day in and day out, trying to better each other. And that was a big point in our program, just having him step up and kind of announce that to the team. And like, I think we had a little bit of a shift in mindset as a program from that point on. And like, hey, you're in this weight class. There's maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 of you guys. Like, you guys have a goal. You guys have a job to do, and one of you is going to get the opportunity to do it, but you're all a part of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And
I don't know if you remember that. But.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's kind of not talked about. There's backups. When there's depth on a team, you look at like Penn State, guys are super good. They don't hate each other. They love each other. They want to see that success. Coming in as a freshman to college, I kind of thought, like, I'm looking at a roster. I don't know these guys. This guy's in my weight class. This guy's in my weight class. Like, I can't be friends with this guy. And then you learn pretty fast, like, no, you're going to love these guys even more than probably the guys that are outside of your weight class because you spend so much time with them. So it's a weird thing that people don't talk about, but you guys are competing for the same thing, but in doing that, you're getting way closer than you would if you're, a 25-pounder and a heavyweight, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And just that shift in mindset, that's something that me and my wife were actually talking about yesterday, is like, when you see something like that, like you say, you're looking at the depth chart, you're looking at the roster, and you're like these are my competition, right? And it's like that's something that you can shift in your mentality, just in regular life too, right? Like there's really no competition, right? And if we're chasing down, trying to be the best that we can possibly be, like, it doesn't really serve us that much to look at somebody as our competition, right? Or somebody that, like, a specific thing or a specific person. Like, my goal is to get better. My goal is to be the best version, to be able to compete as freely as I possibly can. Like, so I'm not competing with anybody besides myself, right? And you hear a lot of people talk about that, but being able to, like, recognize it in the moment, like, that's hard, especially when you're in the fight and when you are, like, actively trying to be the starter. You're trying to do these things, but we can't lose sight of what the actual goal of this game, of this sport is. It's to challenge ourselves and to get better and to grow, right? We talk about it all the time with our guys right now is like, ultimately, like, take yourself out of your position right now and look ahead 5 years. And what are you going to be proud of, right? Is it the wins and losses? Sure. Like, that all feels good and that's all, really great. We want to get our hand raised. It's, we're not going out there and okay with losing or underperforming or anything like that. But ultimately, what you're going to be proud of is the relationships that you had, those moments where you came together with other people and raised your level and raised your morale when you didn't feel like it was possible. Like, those are the types of things that have the long-lasting carryover. Everybody talks about, like, wrestling has all these great benefits to real life, but like, don't wait to recognize those benefits, right? Like it's so easy to like push that down the line and be like, you know, when I'm a dad, this is gonna benefit me. Like, no, like it's gonna benefit you right now if you recognize it and start like utilizing it, right? The skill is right there. The opportunity to implement these things is right there. So you can raise the level of just who you are as a person, who you are as a teammate, as a friend, as an athlete, all these things. Like you can raise your level just by shining some light on those values right there.
And it's all perspective, right? It's like how you look, how you view things. And like we would be naive to think that like, man, we have freshmen coming in every year. Like we can't just expect them to be able to all of a sudden understand like that they can shift their perspective. Like, so that's part of our job, right? Is like, we have to have those conversations with them and say, hey man, you're struggling or you're going through this, like take a step back. We've gone through this before, right? We've gone through these things before. We have experiences that, like we were in your shoes one time, right? We couldn't figure out how to see this from this other angle. And like, you know, maybe we had a mentor to help us work through it, or maybe we didn't, but we had this life experience that like we can now, you know, have this conversation with you and try to help you figure out how to like change your perspective on things. And so that's something we deal with every year because we got new guys coming in every year, and then guys are going to have struggles here and there, and it'll be different for each guy. But yeah, man, like being able to change your perspective and have that shift in mindset is such a hard thing to do, especially as an 18, 19-year-old kid. So I think that's been a focus for us is really just trying to talk through our experiences and like let these guys know that, hey man, at some point you're going to look back on your career or on your decisions, and you're going to have a feeling about that. Like let's make that the best feeling possible.
Yeah. And you know, just like I think about, you know, just the process, like you said, like being able to look back on it all now and like pull the lessons from it is easy. But you know, like you said, like having them learn from our experience, like you don't have to necessarily go through the hard times to learn from the hard times. Like share, like listen to the other people. Like that's why, you know, times are so easy now to like have mentors that you don't even know, like mentors that you never even met. You know, you can go on Twitter, you can go on YouTube, you can go on Instagram, whatever platform you want to go on. Like you can have direct access to some of the most successful people in the world. And like the value of social media now is a lot of these people are being very real, you know, or seemingly real, who knows, you know, but like they're honest about their shortcomings. They're honest about like where they stumbled, where they fell, like, and you can go in and pull some of that. It doesn't all have to be these huge success stories, right? It's just like, hey, this guy tripped up here. I can relate to that. Like, what did he do to get out of it? And you might not be taking the exact same steps, but there's going to be value in at least seeing it from their perspective and seeing what they did to navigate it and to start implementing some of that into your life.
So many of the cliche, like motivational little quotes out there that like you probably hear all the time, right? Fake it till you make it, or you know, those types of things. Like those stick around and get recycled all the time because like they work. They're real, right? They're real things that you can take and like real lessons that other people have learned, and you know, those cliches have been created and kept alive because like, man, if you can figure out how to apply that in your life, like I think a lot of times those things help you, right? Yeah. It's hard to just hear that because you probably hear it. I think that stuff gets recycled so much, so you hear it and you're like, well, yeah, everybody says that, yeah. But like, hey man, like actually dive into what this means in your life, and like it probably can help you out, you know. And again, that's probably where we step in and, you know, try to use a little more depth in how we explain it to guys and to help them get through, you know, difficult times or whatever. But yeah, like that's trying to help shift that perspective and help guys learn. Yeah, you don't have to go through the hard times, man. We went through some hard times. Yeah. Our coaches went through hard times and they tried to tell us, and I was a stubborn kid, so it took me, you know, hearing things over and over and then end up making the same mistakes that other people tried to help me from making. And now we're doing the same thing, right? Trying to pass it on to the next group, and every time I think you try to get a better way to show a guy like, hey, this is the path, right? Mm-hmm. This is the way to do it. Don't do the same mistakes that I made, that these guys made, that this guy made. Like, let's try and help you avoid those.
Yeah.
And, it's hard to do.
It is. So with that in mind, like you kind of transitioning into full-time coach, like what are some things that maybe you're like looking at like, oh, I need to get better here, or I want to learn here, or I need to spend a little time figuring XYZ out. Like are there things that you have on your mind that you want to take in? Because I know like, and I can go, I want to hear your thoughts on it first, like, but I know we can probably go in, like, I know some like major things that I picked up in my first couple years of coaching that really like added a ton of value to like being able to be in the position I'm in now. So like, what are some things that are like tripping you right now?
I think the transition from being selfish to selfless it's not hard, but it's an adjustment, right? Like, spent 21 years wrestling, trying to get better for myself. Now it matters, but it doesn't matter anymore. Like, I want to be better at wrestling for these guys. So I think still understanding that I have a job to do, and like going out and finding the best wrestling techniques, the best mindset techniques, stuff that, like, these guys already know me. They know how I wrestle, so I got to evolve for them, and not just kind of resting on the idea that I had a good career and I know a lot of wrestling. Continuing to learn and evolve is probably something that I need to, I mean, I am taking it seriously, but take it more seriously, dive deeper into that stuff. And then also just like being more understanding. I think, when I was competing, like, if I'm doing this stuff with you, why are you struggling now? But now I have to like get deeper in with the guys and understand why. Like, yeah, I had a bad night of sleep, or I'm not doing good in school, something's going on at home. That stuff matters now. Well, it mattered before, but now it's like, it's my job to fix that, as opposed to, if I was a captain, shipping it up to the coaches. Like, I am the coaches now, so I have to kind of learn how to deal with those kind of things, and it's exciting. I mean, I feel like I can do a good job of it, but there's ways to learn too.
Yeah, I know. Like, when I first got out here, like, I didn't know anything about coaching. You know what I mean? Like, I had done a little bit of coaching at like the high school level. I helped out at SF State a little bit, but I didn't know what it really meant to like coach somebody, right? And like, it's not just teaching single legs, right? Like if our job was just to teach the best technique that we could possibly teach these guys, like, it's a hell of a lot easier than what our actual job is. And like, I think you hit on it like well, is being able to have those personal relationships with kids where like I can tell when you're off. I can tell like when something's bugging you, and I can, start to know you in such a manner that I can know what you need to get out of that, right? And not necessarily fix it for them, but guide them in ways that they can fix it and they can make adjustments, because that is the want, like, especially like as a young coach. I know, like, I had like expectations of the kids that were probably a little bit unfair. Like, I knew like look, I know I can wake up at 5 a.m. and go get in the restroom room and work out. That's not what some people may be used to. That maybe not something that they even like are interested in doing, right? So it at the beginning, it led me to being like, I would just cut kids like off. I'd be like, you don't want to work hard. You don't want to show up early for this workout, then like you just don't work hard. But that's not really true. And like, as you like really figure out like relationships and figure out how people work, you dig in a little bit deeper to see like, okay, why am I not resonating with you? Why are we not having a relationship where I can motivate you to wake up earlier, or maybe I can step back a little bit and I can adjust my step to it, and meet them where they are, you know. So it took me a long time, like a couple years before I even recognized it in myself, and then it took me even longer to like develop skills that I think now I can, you know, meet a kid where they are and you know, try to raise them up. You know, not everybody's gonna be a national champion. Not everybody's gonna want to do 3 workouts a day, but that doesn't mean that they can't be successful. That doesn't mean that their process, you know, with a little fine tuning can work to have, you know, great results. So that was definitely something that when I first started, I had to figure out and make adjustments to.
Yeah, I was pretty. I wouldn't say one way or the highway, but I was pretty set on like, hey, this is how I know things work, and like I want you all to do it this way, and like you're gonna have a hard time if that's the way you're going about it. That was the first couple of years was like, guys, I know the way, do it this way, but to just be a little more open minded and allow yourself to be open to different ways, because you need to push different buttons and pull different strings for different guys, right?
Yeah.
And if you're trying to push the same button for every guy, like you're just gonna have a hard time either, you know, building that relationship with kids or getting them to enjoy the process. And like you're not gonna get the most out of kids if you're constantly fighting them on how you're coaching them, how you're training them, how you're speaking to them. You know, it's not a one size fits all type of thing, right? Like you got to be able to adjust. So, and I think that's probably something you'll never stop doing, right? Like we don't have it all figured out 100% right now. We're going to continue to evolve and be open-minded, you know, until we're done with this thing, right? So I think that's been probably one of the biggest things for me is like, man, you gotta open your mind up a little bit and be open to different ways to do things, man. It's not doesn't have to be the same every time.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, just there's so much that we get to be involved with these kids' lives. Like it would be a shame if it all just mattered with wrestling and getting our hand raised, right? Like again, we talk about all the time, like I want to go to these guys' weddings. I want to meet their kids. I want to meet their wife. I want to know that their time that they were around me serves a bigger purpose than getting their hand raised. It means that, you know, we're doing something that is everlasting and is something that, you know, again, they can look back in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, whatever it is, and be proud of the work that they put in and the things that they were able to do. And if all of that centers around whether they ended as a national champ or an All-American or whatever, like, then I think we missed the boat at some point, you know? So, yeah, I think, and then just on the technical standpoint of wrestling, yeah, like you gotta be a master of multiple things, you know, like, and you're not gonna continue to do the same technique. Like wrestling's ever evolving anyway, so it'd be silly to think that the things that I did when I was in college are still the things that are working. Obviously there's gonna be fundamentals and things that are like non-negotiables, but also like every kid's gonna have a little different spin to it, and it's about seeing it. Like again, like we're getting better athletes in the room, we're getting guys with like, you know, large skill sets, so like take that and like it's on us to like learn what they're doing and then raise it up. It's not to all right, scrap what you've been doing for the last 20 years that's worked for you and do it my way. It's like, this is sick. Like let's figure out how to continue to make it better. Let's figure out 5, 6, 7 ways to get to that skill. Let's figure out, you know, how to evolve that position so it can be better. I think same goes off the mat and everything like that. So,
and you talked about like you got to be a little selfless instead of selfish, right? But at the same time, like you still need to get better at wrestling for yourself, but it might be in areas that like you're not good at right now, because that might be what helps this kid that we're coaching, you know, that fits his style, like for you to be able to help him and make adjustments in his wrestling. Like sometimes you got to feel that out for yourself. And like, so there's always I mean, right now we're training guys for Greco, and like, dude, I'm not a Greco guy. So, like, part of me helping these Greco guys is like, I got to get in there and scrap some Greco and feel things out a little bit, and and obviously watch technique and continue to develop my my Greco and everything. But it's part of that is getting in there and doing it yourself and feeling it out.
Yeah,
that's a huge part of learning, man.
Yeah, that's the funny, like, because I was talking to Coach Roper last summer, and he was talking about like what he's been getting better at, right? And he's talking about they got Corey Land and a couple other guys that are like high level Greco guys, right? So Coach Roper's not necessarily a Greco guy, but I wouldn't put anything in front of that guy that I didn't think that he was gonna like master and figure out. But he was talking about like just diving into the intricacies of it and really like going all in and trying to learn it and do the same thing like you're talking about, man. And it can be humbling for us, but that humility and that ability to like, no, I don't know everything, I don't have this skill set, but dang it, I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to grow, and ultimately just makes us more viable in the wrestling room, and it's fun, like we're at the point where we can learn skills and still get better at wrestling, and we're still in the room scrapping with these guys, and like just over the course of the last couple of weeks, early mornings, like it's not always fun, but as soon as you get in there and you see those guys and there's good energy, like it makes it so easy to do the extra studying, to get in there and wrestle with those guys. So it's just the value of being open-minded is just it's always a good thing.
I think you kind of talked about it, a unique, I don't know, selling point, but like as coaches, we're still wrestling. Mm-hmm. Like we want to wrestle. There hasn't been a day where one of us hasn't wrestled for the whole time. I think that kind of not only helps you evolve and makes your athletes better, but also like you have athletes, they look over at coach who did this for 6 years, who's been doing it for 20 years, and he's still doing it. Like that's motivating, and I think that's something I want to see more of in college wrestling is like coaches that still get after it with the guys, and like I don't care if I lose to a guy I'm coaching now. Like I would prefer that. That means we're doing something right. Yeah. So that's something I really enjoy, I guess, that we've kind of started doing.
100%. If we can get a bunch of coaches to sign off on like trying to get better health coverage for coaches, I don't know any other sport that gets in there and still does it like wrestling coaches. But yeah, man, like when I was in college, like seeing John Reeder and Bono in the room scrapping like all the time, like that's motivating for us to be like, man, like I got no excuse to.
Like I want to be like that.
Yeah, I ain't losing to these guys in this run, man, and I'm gonna run past them. Or if they're scrapping with us, like I ain't letting coach, kick my butt today. Like seeing them push through when like, man, they ain't competing for anything, right? They're just doing this for us. Like, like that's super motivating as a young kid trying to figure out like, how to find that motivation. Like that was all I needed, man, just to see that. So yeah, huge.
Yeah, and ultimately, it's a reminder to us like that everything that we do is important. And our recovery is important. Our attention to our nutrition and our diet and everything that we're doing off the mat, like it's tenfold now, because you wake up in the morning after scrapping with some of these guys, like holy crap, like I gotta make sure I'm staying on top of it, because these guys will go for your head if you let them.
Yeah. All right, here's a new section we're gonna do. You ready?
Ready.
All right, I think we'll all answer. So first question, start with you, Zeke.
Okay.
If you weren't a wrestler, what sport would you do?
Man, I grew up in Northern California, and there wasn't like ice hockey really around where I was from. But if I grew up out here, I think I would have been in ice hockey like that. I love watching it. I grew up watching it, and I think if I had a chance to play it, like there's no way I would have let myself grow up without throwing some skates on and getting out there. So it would be that. But I mean, I grew up playing soccer and baseball and a little bit of basketball, and finally wrestling took over in 7th grade. But like soccer was probably my go-to sport outside until I really got into wrestling. So I would say one of those two probably. I like ice hockey though. That would have been the physicality in that is kind of probably very similar to the wrestling.
I took my kids to the hockey game here, and I got a little bit nervous because they liked it a lot, and I know how expensive hockey is. So I was like, no, please don't like it this much. But yeah, hockey's a good one. I thought for sure I was going to play professional baseball. All about until my freshman year of high school, even my freshman year, I was feeling myself a little bit. I got to play varsity, and we were on a pretty good team. But then, life happens. But yeah, if I could have pursued baseball at a high level, that would have been me. And now it's my karma because now Jordan,
now he loves it.
Now he loves it. So I'm still waiting for his turnaround moment at some point just to go all in on the mats.
I would have said baseball for me, but since you said it.
Aren't you afraid of the baseball?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, but you've seen me smoke the ball in the wrestling room. You know what
if there was a professional wrestling room baseball league, you're top pick.
Pickleball's picking up steam. You can make some money. Yeah. That's what I'm gonna do.
Like all the
that was like a PE class when I was growing up. Like,
literally, I took a racket sports class at SF State, and like most of the semester, we had like a college student was the teacher, and we did like a little bit of tennis, a little bit of like badminton, and the rest of the semester was just a pickleball tournament.
You didn't win, did you?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I would have.
But like all the obscure sports now, like you can see it. Like there's cornhole, there's spike ball leagues, there's
underwater hockey.
Underwater hockey we just learned about.
Golf.
Disc golf.
Huge.
It's good. I mean, everyone has their thing. Why not?
Yeah.
All right. Last question. What do you want to be remembered as in the sport of wrestling?
Am I first again?
Yeah.
All right. I think the biggest thing is like, I just want people to remember me as someone that helped them, man. Like that made an impact in a positive way. Whether it's a big impact, small impact, like everybody that crosses my path, I want to have something that I can do for them to like figure out how to get closer to their goals, and obviously as a coach, that's like, that should be your goal. But like even guys that maybe don't make it 4 or 5 years with us, like I want to still have good relationships with everybody and be somebody that they can reach out to. Maybe it's not in wrestling that I'm making an impact in their life, like any of their life goals, man. I want to be someone that they don't hesitate to reach out to and ask for advice or ask for help. So I think that's the biggest thing. Like I've always, like growing up, I've always just wanted to like help people. I'm kind of a sucker for like hard luck stories and stuff, and like people that go through struggle and everything. So like I want to do something that's going to be able to make a positive impact somewhere. So it's honestly, man, like I want to get trophies and medals and get guys on the podium and all that stuff. But any way I can be a positive impact in your life, like that's the most important thing to me.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I share that same thing. Like I want to be a person that is thought to have added value to everybody that I get around. Like, and that goes beyond wrestling. Like that's, just small encounters out, in everyday life. Like I want to be able to add value to people's life, whether it's a freaking smile to somebody that's having a rough day, or like, taking a kid from, struggling to being able to graduate, from college, like whatever it is. Like, and what's kind of been cool about my journey as a wrestling coach, like I have bounced around from place to place, but the greatest thing that's happened through all of my stops has been the relationships, and like these athletes and these families that I'm still in great contact with, today. We go to tournaments and I'm able to stand in some corners still. Going through the season, these guys are hitting me up and like, hey, coach, like what should I be eating here, you know, and I'm sending nutrition plans to them, I'm sending strength and conditioning plans to them, and you know, or just, you know, mindset stuff, like being like able to still be in their lives, but I'm not their number one coach still, right? And I'm still able to have those relationships, and like that to me, like the relationship side of wrestling has been, you know, the biggest catalyst for me to want to continue to do it at a high level and continue to try to produce for myself and try to grow for myself, is so that I can just give it all away, you know, like that's ultimately what I want to be remembered for, is a person that just gave, you know, gave as much as I possibly could, from my experience, from my knowledge, like that's ultimately what I want to be remembered for.
That's good. I think both of you are on track to probably do that. I remember being the annoying high school kid hitting Josh up for workouts, and I remember Zeke consoling me, crying in some hallways in college a lot of times. So yeah, I would say the same thing you guys said. I just want to be someone that someone can look back to and say, yeah, that guy helped me get to where I am now. At the end of the day, maybe it's not wrestling, maybe it's life, maybe it's school, advice, whatever. Just someone that, like, no matter what happened, like, I was a positive light in their life, whether wrestling life, whatever. That's mine.
All right, I got something for you guys. So we've attempted a 72-hour fast.
Mm-hmm.
I did not make it 72 hours, but that was a good challenge. We are currently in the middle of 50 miles in May, right? We got about 8-9 days left. So what's the next challenge, man? Like let's
put it out there. So we have to do it.
So yeah, let's talk and let's think about it for a second, and like so I was thinking about this actually today, and like how like this has kind of evolved from like something where like, oh, let's do this fast, you know, and we all three kind of you know, stuck it out and you know, figured it out, like, okay, that's not fun. but it was better that we could come into the office and be like doing it together, knowing that we're struggling together, knowing that it was tough for all of us, and then that moved right into this running challenge that we came up with. And you know, so what I was thinking about this morning is just like the value of shared suffering and the value of accountability that we're creating. So like I think it's something important that we can do, you know, whatever it is. I think it's gonna, you know, evolve as we go, and we're gonna probably do some crazier things as we get going, but you know, I think it's important for us as the leaders of this program, as guys, like, you know, we're talking about having a long-lasting impact, like to do stuff together that is constantly challenging us and constantly getting us out of our comfort zone to you know, do stuff that's difficult, do stuff that isn't always the most convenient, right? Like it's not convenient to have to knock out, you know, 5 miles every other day and to fit that into your schedule, like, but ultimately when we're done with it, like, it feels good, and it's something that we can build off of. So we have like had some ideas. We've got, so just kind of throwing some out there. We got the 30 days hard, or the hard 30, hard 30. The pull-ups. We've got, what else are we talking about?
That was it, wasn't it?
So pull-ups was like 50, was it 1,500 or 2,000 or something like
50 a day was a round number that
for the whole month.
For the whole month, so that would be 1,500 by the end of June.
I'm in for pull-ups. Or we could do 3,000 push-ups.
I'm also open to like putting this out there for people to like throw some ideas. Like we don't have to make a decision until June 1st.
Okay.
So like if there's some other ideas out there that people want to throw some suggestions out, like I'd be open to looking at it, because obviously we only got a couple that we're going through right now, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't love any of them. I will do one, but like we talked about like climbing Mount Everest and rope climbs.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
It's gonna be hard to do in a
pretty
month.
insane. Pretty insane. But yeah, like I want to get a list of ideas, and then we can kind of figure out like. Then we'll post it and we'll make it official.
We'll have to.
So if you got any suggestions on 30 or month-long challenges, and I guess they don't necessarily have to be like physical. We don't, we did the fasting, we've done stuff like that. So comment below. We'll put some polls out too, to see what some ideas are.
We're just finishing a running challenge, so let's avoid another running challenge.
Anything with legs, preferably.
Yeah. Some kind of upper body or nutrition based thing. But I will say nutrition in the summertime for us is brutal because we travel for camps, we got a ton going on, so that might be in season.
How about don't suggest anything? We'll figure it out.
But yeah. So I guess kind of closing it out with you guys, Wyatt, talk a little bit more just about what you see your role being as an assistant coach, as a guy that has been an invaluable piece of Northern State Wrestling and this program kind of continuing to climb. Like, what can you do, or what are your goals as a coach?
Yeah, I think a surface level answer would just be like continue elevating Northern State Wrestling. And what does that entail? I think it's making these guys better at wrestling, but in doing that, meeting them where they are, like you had just said, and like understanding that whatever relationship we had in the past is like, I want to keep that relationship, but it's different now. I'm here for you guys. Before I was selfish. Now I'm here to do whatever I need to do to help you. Maybe that's write you a nutrition plan. Maybe that's get another workout in at 3 a.m. Maybe that's you bomb me on my head in Greco for 1,000 times in a day. My role, I think, there's a lot of things that have to be in line in order to make that happen. But first and foremost, the most important thing to me is getting these guys to trust me and understanding that like I'm here for you guys now. And I care a lot about this program, and I want you to see that when I get into the room, when I interact with you. Like, everything I'm doing is for the program, but it's for you guys. I want you guys to see my passion for it, and I want you guys to ultimately like develop that same passion. And you guys aren't going to be here 6 years like I was, and you don't have to go through the rough patches that we did, hopefully. So just instilling that love in them right away and letting them know like I'm here for you, and no matter what happens, like I got your back for life.
Yeah, I think that's so important. Like you just said, like love these guys, like and care about them, and again, 30 down to 1, like it's nobody's bigger than the program. Nobody's more important. Like it's a love that you have to have in the process, in the work that it takes to do it. Like you have to love it, and you have to go all in, and there's gonna be trip ups, there's gonna be tough times, but like on the other side of all those tough times, that's where all the good stuff is. That's where all the growth and things that we're actually chasing. We're gonna hit those tough spots, and like when we hit them, like as long as it's coming from a place of love, as long as it's coming from a place of passion, like I think we're gonna be in a good spot to be able to run through that wall or find a way over it, or however it looks. Zeke, what are you looking forward to most with the next kind of phase of what we're going into?
Yeah, I think there's probably different things like personally versus like team oriented stuff, but like personally, like as we transition, like with you moving forward as the head coach, like this is an opportunity for me to like pick your brain, and like I've learned a ton from Rocky, but with a new guy coming in, and like there's a whole list of things now that I can go and pick your brain on and learn from. So personally, as a coach, like I'm excited about like the opportunity to get better and have another perspective, another guy to learn from. So that's going to be really cool for me, really exciting for me. I mean, as a program, man, like we've touched on a lot of like our goals, but again, it's just like knowing that we have growth in our buy-in and just where we're at from top to bottom, like knowing what's on the horizon for us, man, it's just exciting, man. And so I'm looking forward to seeing these guys continue to grow. This off season is kind of like, that's where my head's at right now, is just focusing on one day at a time, what's right in front of us. Obviously we're getting guys ready for Ohio, so we're training pretty hard right now, but just taking this summer to try and help these guys pick one or two things up and better themselves, and watching that growth happen over the next 2-3 months is it's kind of where my brain's at right now, and my focus is. So I'm excited about a lot of things, but trying to stay present and do what we can day in and day out to help these guys, just make growth, man. Just make growth. I think as long as we're making growth, then we're heading in the right direction, and we'll get to November and then March when it comes, but yeah, just taking this off season by storm. That's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, I'm super excited, like to like there's a big learning curve for me, like as like moving into like head college coaching, like the being able to lean on you guys, like that's something that why I wanted to keep you guys, why that was a mainstay in my process, was because I know, like, we've known each other for a long time. Like, I trust you guys with everything, and being able to know that we can lean on each other and we can, struggle together, right? There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, there's going to be, everything in between, but understanding that, like, we're in this together. We're gonna put in the hours and do whatever we can to help these guys out. I'm super excited, just like you said, like, take it a day at a time. There's no such thing as the future. There's no such thing as the past. Like, all there is right now. Like, if we can make the next best step every time, like, we're gonna be a pretty good place, and we're gonna get to November and have a whole different type of squad. We're gonna get to March and have a whole different type of squad. So just continuing to elevate ourselves and challenge ourselves and grow right along with these guys. I think it's an exciting time for us. We've got a ton of support, ton of momentum. Now it's just the time to capitalize on it all and just really see what we can do, man. That's been my message to a lot of the people that have reached out to me, and they're congratulating me, and like, yeah, I'm excited to see what we can do, because we got a lot of enthusiasm behind the program, a lot of momentum going. The guys are working their tails off, and like, harness that and just run with it, because again, we set a new standard for what we're doing, and I think that there really is no ceiling to what we can accomplish here on and off the mat.
Boom.
Got me fired up.
Let's go get it.